Hello everybody, this is your girl Slick Vic. Welcome to Peace Toast and Jam. You guys, this is such an amazing, happy, powerful, power-packed day. It is a full moon. It's the harvest full moon in September, and it's also a partial lunar eclipse. It's actually the last eclipse of the year until March of 2025, which is so weird to say. I believe that's correct. Might have to check me on that. And I believe it's also a super moon. Like, what? This is so amazing. It's so amazing. I actually broke down a lot of things about the moon on my TikTok. So if you guys are not following me yet on TikTok, go find Slick Vic BA on there. And I did a whole September moon ritual, which is actually what we're gonna talk about today. But a couple things going on right now. I actually have a different background. I am in my kitchen, which I'm usually in my kitchen recording this, but this part I'm by the cast iron skillets and whatnot. There's actually a little mini one here that my boyfriend has yet to use. It was from Christmas. So yeah, I'm on you with that right now. I'm calling you out. And it's just a different area in the home because we had some craziness happen with a flood, and I decided after that I wanted to like switch it up in here a little bit, just different areas and whatnot. So that's what's going on. For those that are listening, you can tune in and actually see what I'm talking about on my YouTube page. Just go to Slick Vic on YouTube and you'll see that I post all my podcasts now also in video format. So I'm a vlogger now, I guess, which is just cool and different and something I've been wanting to do for a while. So I'm really excited about that. I'm also wearing a solar eclipse t-shirt that I got from my very good friend Andy. Obviously this is a different kind of eclipse, but I wanted to be in the eclipse mood. And also, I'm gonna put my foot up here. It's socks I got from Andy as well, and it says let that chick go. There's a little Buddha on it, so cute. And it's gonna go right along with the full moon ritual. That's why I'm wearing them right now. So without further ado, let's get into it. So this is your September harvest full moon ritual. And you can use this ritual for any full moon, but we're just gonna make it for September because we're talking about the harvest full moon. So the September full moon gets the harvest full moon name because this is a time that farmers are getting their last harvesting done before the winter months. So more specifically, according to the Farmer's Almanac, farmers are working really late into the night, and there's still like the illumination, if you will, from the moon to help them harvest the last bits of their crops before they go into hibernation mode and the freezing mode, the frost mode. That's going to be happening here really soon for those that have that in their states. Now here in Florida, yeah, we really don't like get that too much. I mean, there is some, I guess, but you know, growing up in Ohio, this was like, oh yeah, makes perfect sense. But for states like this in Florida, like myself in Florida, we don't have the same kind of seasons, if you will, but we definitely do have season changes. Like for sure we do. It's just funny, whenever I talk about this, I'm like, wait, is it fall? Because it feels like I'm like in the dead heat of summer still. Like I was just talking to my dad, actually, he called me about like an hour and a half to 2 hours ago, and he's like, so how's the weather? I'm like, Dad, it's hot. It's freaking hot. It's like still 80, 90 degree weather. He's like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So anyways, there's that. The partial eclipse, let's talk about that real quick. So the eclipses are really cool. They're really powerful for those that are in the spiritual mode. But eclipses are all about like when the earth's shadow will fall on the moon. And a lot of people will say they don't see it, they kind of see it. This is like for the partial ones. It's like a little tip of the moon will be a little bit darker once it starts making its way. It really depends on how observant you are and I would say what kind of like visual you have the moon. So really check that out tonight if you're watching this before it's tonight. But honestly, you could watch this for any kind of eclipse that you have, especially if it's a partial one. But eclipses in general are really, really important because this is a really good time for you to fully commit to whatever you're trying to fulfill in your higher purpose, your highest purpose. So this is a time to really like buckle down, get serious, get specific on whatever your purpose is, and go, okay, what do I want to focus on with this? How do I want to make this a better focus in my life? How can I put more energy into this? Like, this is a time to do that, which falls right in line with full moons in general. But in general, like full moons are a really like heavy feminine energy. And for the guys that are listening to this, don't think that like, oh my gosh, I can't like be around when there's a full, no. This is just tapping more into that feminine energy, like the real nurturing, the real like just full embodiment of family, of love, of, not that the masculine side isn't that, but this is definitely more of the nurturing side of the universe, if you will. Very like emotional, but again, doesn't have to be like the emotion that you may be thinking on the negative side. It's just like you're feeling a lot more. And full moons in general are a lot about harvesting. They are about harvesting. They're all about letting go of things that no longer serve you. It's about celebrations. And really a lot of it is about manifestation and going into whatever your deepest desires and dreams are. This is a time to really just be like full throttle into it. So that's why I really love full moons. But with that, we're going to go more into what kind of rituals you can do. And I wrote down actually the ritual that I like to do for September, and I put it in my Patreon page. I also talk about it in my TikTok video. So whether you're a member or not, you can get this information. Obviously, this is free to anyone who's listening and watching this through my podcast or through my YouTube. But feel free to save this, to share this, to, you know, favorite this so that you have this for other full moons as well. So there's a couple things you need first and foremost before you start the ritual. I suggest getting 2 pieces of paper and a cup of tea or a cup of like a warm beverage that you really enjoy. I say warm for this time of year, and because a lot of times it is a more relaxing drink. But if you're someone who's like, no, I really don't want to do a hot drink, okay, do a cold drink, whatever makes you feel comfortable and relaxed. The warmness is usually because we see the moons at night and you're settling into bed, into a slumber state. So having like an ice cold, refreshing water, or beverage of any, whatever choice that you have, is sometimes too like awakey, if you will. And right now we're just trying to settle and get into like the whole vibe of the full moon, which is, you know, a warm, encompassing, like that feminine energy I was talking about, which will just put you right into a wonderful state of peace and an excitement for the manifestations that are going to happen after the full moon. So with that being said, you have that. And then also things you need would be either a lighter or matches if you plan on doing that part towards the end, which I will get to. Okay, so first and foremost, I would like you to sit down, we'll just say you got your cup of tea, right? Get your cup of tea, find a relaxing place in your home, and you're basically gonna get into a meditative state. You're gonna start to reflect over the last lunar month cycle, which would just basically mean the last month of the full cycle of the moon, and think about all the things in which you experience. And this is a very loving experience that you're having. Yes, you may think about the struggles, you may think of like the tough times, the hard times of the last month. For instance, this past month, our house got flooded. I had mentioned that at the beginning of the video, and it was a very stressful time. We found out that there was something that was damming up the side of our house, which was causing the overflow of water to not, you know, dump out into the little pond in the back, which then meant that the water came into the house, and it was a crazy time. So as I'm sitting here, and I'll be doing this later for the full moon, that is something I could reflect on. But instead of just sitting and thinking about the negative about it, I am now in a state where I can think about it as like, wow, we totally got out of that. It was a crazy time, but like, whew, you know, that I'm glad that's over, and I've learned a lot, you know, which I did. I learned a lot about, you know, trenches and, you know, different things you can do to set up your house for success. And obviously I just learned that a lot of things are so temporary, and I got rid of some things during the flood. And I realized some things about myself in the realm of, you know, do these things really matter to me? You know, I freaked out for a hot minute, and then I was like, it's just clothes, it's just some paperwork, whatever. It's not a big deal. So start reflecting. Just reflect. Do this for as long as you like. I typically will tell people to do it for like 5 to 10 minutes, because that's usually the amount of time that people like to be in a meditative state for those that aren't meditating regularly. And it could be as simple as like 3 to 5 minutes, you know. Don't worry about the, you know, the semantics of how long. Just whatever feels right for you. Then you want to get your 2 sheets of paper ready. On the first piece of paper, you're going to start writing down all the things in which you're super grateful for. Okay, this is really important. This is probably one of the most important pieces of this whole ritual, if you will. You're going to write down all the things that you're really just grateful for, you're very appreciative for, about, it could be people, places, things. It could be anything. It could be like, I'm just happy I have a roof over my head. It could be my partner. It could be my job right now. It could be my cat, my dog, my snake, whatever animals that you have, you know, in your home. It could be that you are, you know, a month sober. It could be that you're just really happy that it's fall time. I mean, you name it, you write it out. It doesn't have to be super specific. You could do bullet points, you can write out like sentences, whatever, but just fill up the sheet of paper as much as you can. Again, same amount of time. Don't take too much time, but just let it flow. It could be anything. And then what you're gonna do with this piece of paper is you're going to put it somewhere in your home that you're gonna see a lot. The reason is because this is gonna remind you to practice gratitude for the whole time of the lunar month. And why gratitude is so important is because when we're in a state of gratitude, things will flow naturally. We're not in a state of resistance. We're not in a state of lack. We are very much in a state of abundance, joy. Everything is just flowing and naturally, and we're all about love. And that is the key to like everything. So that's what we need to do. Write it down, put it somewhere you're gonna see it. You can put it in your bathroom, put it by your nightstand, by your bed, if you have that. Put it in your car, by your calendar, if you look at a calendar every day, whatever. Just put it somewhere where you're gonna see it. Okay, now, this is the next point that is really super important for full moons, and it becomes even more fun after we write it out. For the second piece of paper, you're gonna write down all the things that you no longer want in your life. And these are things that no longer serve you. Maybe it's holding you back in life. It's negative, unwanted energy, mindsets. It could be thoughts about yourself. You could write down like, I no longer want to think that I'm unhealthy. I no longer want to hang out with this group of people because they make me feel like crap. You know, I no longer want to think negatively about this person or that person or whatever. I'm going to do my best going forward to really put in the work to act differently in a more positive way. It could be anything. And now this one is where you want to be detailed. When I say detail, this is not like a term paper essay, but you just want to be specific because these are things you really want to let go of. You want to no longer have heavy on your shoulders, on your chest, on your mind, on your body, and your soul. You want them to go. And this is not a place where you want to hold guilt. You don't want to feel bad about yourself while you're writing it. It's very much it should feel like a release. You are letting go of it. This is what full moons are really, really good for doing for us. And so once you're done with that sheet of paper and you feel pretty good about it, you're going to do something that I love to do on full moons, and you're gonna get rid of it. So the lighter and the matches come in handy for this because you can burn it. This is what I will do. This is what I'm going to do later on. I highly recommend going outside in a place where obviously it's not gonna catch fire. So if you have like, asphalt, cement, etc., some rocks, you could just burn it in. If you have a fire pit, that's great. But you're gonna burn it. If you do not have the resources to burn it, or maybe you live in like an apartment and you just don't feel comfortable doing that, what I suggest is a couple other things. You can rip it up into tiny sheets of paper or tiny little bits and you can throw it away. A paper shredder is really good for this because obviously then it's like super shredded and you don't have to worry about it in that way. You can also bury it. I haven't done this one, but I know some people can do this. So you can bury it somewhere. And then the last one that is actually kind of funny, and I don't know, I like this for many reasons, is you can write all this down on toilet paper. And you can flush it down the toilet. And the reason why I like that and I think it's funny is because it's like you're literally throwing like the crap away. Like you're literally just tossing it into the toilet, bloop, and you're not going after that. That's for sure. You're not going through the plumbing system to try to get that back. But the whole reason why we're doing this is to really let go of it. Really, you don't want to look at it. You don't want to like try to put the pieces back together. You want to rummage through the trash again and be like, no. That's why burning makes sense, and that's why the toilet makes sense. Excuse me, because you're no longer going to have access to that. I mean, once it's burned, I mean, it's done, it's ashes, like it's into the universe, the energy is released, you're good. Same thing with the toilet, unless you're going through like your septic system, it's gone. So that's what you're gonna do. And then the last but not least part of the ritual that a lot of people may or may not do, but this is something that I enjoy so much, is you take this all, you do this all under the moonlight. I suggest doing this whole process either by a window where you can see the moon, or if you can't see the moon tonight for whatever reason, like you know that it's in this vicinity, you know, maybe it's a cloudy night, whatever. The moonlight is the best though, I will say that. And for me, I like to do it outside, and then I dance under the moonlight. And as I'm dancing under the moonlight, I have a moment, I reflect, I pause, I am so grateful. I'm so grateful to the universe, to the moon, to her. I do see the moon as a she, and I just thank her for all her goodness, for all her luminosity, if you will, and for taking care of us in this way and giving us this opportunity to do these kind of rituals. And then just dance. I dance. I put on the song Dancing in the Moonlight. I know, super cliche. And sometimes I put on other, songs too, but I just love letting go and being free and just letting my body feel the music and dance in the moonlight. And it's a very amazing cleansing process. Now, I will say other things you could do with the ritual, which I didn't mention on, through my Patreon members Discord page or the TikTok, is if you have crystals, you can put them out in the moonlight and they'll get charged by the moonlight. If you have just a glass of water and you want to charge in the moonlight, you can also do that. So it's moonlit charged water, which a lot of people believe that it will hold the power of the moon. So when you drink it the next day, or if you drink it throughout the week, it's supposed to just really embody that moon power and kind of carry you throughout the week. But whatever you do, it's really about what you believe and just your intention with all of it. So the biggest thing is with the gratitude and the intention behind all of this. If all of this just sounds kind of like crazy and woo, and it's more so entertaining than anything, great. If you're gonna do it, make sure that you're really trying to have a good intention behind it. None of this should be, oh, I want to put harm on myself or harm on others. That is something I really drive home with individuals. It's like, if you're going to do it, yeah, you might like half butt it, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe you're not fully believing in it, but you're trying your best. That's still good. But if your intention behind it ever in this whole process is to be, negative and bring more negative energy to people's lives, or to just be just a terrible person in some way, or to just bring harm to yourself, it's not going to be good. It's not going to work. That's not what it's all about. So that's the intention behind it, is really, really big. But that's pretty much it for the full moon ritual that I like to do. And honestly, I can carry this whole ritual over through all the full moons. Like I said before, this one is super cool because it is a partial eclipse. We're not going to have one for a little while now. So if you believe in that, this brings on even more powerful energy than just your regular full moon. And I believe it's a super moon too. So you put that all together, it's like a crazy trifecta of just crazy, magnificent moon energy. So with that, I wish you guys a beautiful, happy full moon. Like always, if you're looking for a group to talk about this and many more things, I talk about everything under the sun. I talk about jujitsu, I talk about the moon, I talk about spirituality, I talk about more therapy kind of things, mental health. I do have a Patreon, which you can support if you don't want to really interact with the group, or you can totally become a member and be very, involved in the group. There's 3 different tiers in which you can choose from, and all you need to do is go into any of the links in my bio pages on my social media, or go to www.slickvic.com and you will find that on there as well. I do have a book out if you would like to kind of just get a little bit more information about my life and what I've been through, and I am working on a second book, by the way, so I'm super excited about that. And of course, please, subscribe and share this podcast episode with anyone that you feel that it would be beneficial and helpful for anyone out there that maybe is going through a rough time. Maybe they need this little spiritual boost to get them back on their feet. Or maybe you just feel like someone would really enjoy this ritual for a full moon. Please share it. That's how I get myself out there. But with that, I'm gonna leave y'all. I'm gonna write out my things so I'm ready to go for tonight. I'll probably write out more of it later on once we start to get a little bit more sunsetty. But with that, I hope you guys all have a wonderful, beautiful morning, a glorious afternoon, and a marvelous night whenever you listen to this. And I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.